find something you can be loyal to. The difference between Gemini and Sagittarius as sisters is that one has spirituality and the other has thoughts, ideas. Sagittarius, being the older sister or the older version of Gemini, they're more spiritual. In fact, Sagittarius is deeply spiritual. Sagittarius is often more liked than Gemini, and I would argue the main reason is because Sagittarius has ethics, which come from their spirituality. Sagittarius is very big on having a code of ethics, on having morality, on being able to stay true to who and what they are. It's not so much about good and bad according to the church or any religious group. It's good and bad according to who they are and who they say that they are and how they present themselves. Sagittarius is very big on the truth, on living in truth, and on being a truthful person, someone that has integrity, authenticity, because you can't be free if you are running away from yourself, or if you are afraid of yourself, or if you dislike yourself. All of those conditions keep you in a low vibrational state that keep you rooted in fear. So somebody that has Gemini and South Node is somebody that we try a lot of different things, but we never commit. The difference between Sagittarius and Gemini is that Sagittarius will commit. Sagittarius commits to an ideal, a viewpoint, a belief systems, and they're willing to die for it till the very end. They don't care what it takes. Somebody said, "My goodness, you're so spot on." Is it about the Gemini or the Sagittarius Black? Now I'm very curious. They don't care what it takes. They have ethics, they have morals, they have values, and they're going to stick by it. Gemini doesn't quite have ethics, morals, and values. That's not to say Gemini is immoral. It's that Gemini will change their set of beliefs based on the situation. So Gemini could be ethical in this situation and gravely unethical over here and see nothing wrong with that, because to them their idea changed, their opinion changed, so they moved on. And I fundamentally believe that's why people tend to see Sagittarius as being more likable than Gemini. It's not that they're much different. I think the only difference is that Sagittarius has limits. They have boundaries. They have a place they won't take things to. Gemini doesn't mind spreading a rumor that they know to be false for the sake of the plot twist. Do you see what I'm saying? For the sake of the entertainment. That rumor could very well hurt other people. Gemini is not concerned about that tidbit. Gemini isn't giving much thought to that tidbit. Gemini is only concerned about the fact that they're having fun right now, and this is what they're focused on, this fun right here, and they're not taking any of this seriously. And this story that they've spread about this person, they don't think it's that serious. They don't think it's that important. They don't think it's that meaningful, and they think it's just a game. And they're just having a good time with the game in this moment. The real mugshot is laughing and saying yes. Somebody said, yes, I have my moon in Sagittarius and Mercury as well. Very on point. Yeah, by the way, I'm a Sagittarius stellium. I have my Mercury as well in Sagittarius, as well as my sun. So I can relate to you as well. So that is mainly the difference, is that there are certain lengths that Gemini will go to that Sagittarius won't, because Sagittarius holds back, because Sagittarius knows that God is real. Sagittarius believes in God. I've never met one who doesn't. And Sagittarius feels deeply connected to the spirit realm because they understand that life is about a little bit more than what we see with the eyes. Gemini rules the material world. Sagittarius rules the spiritual realm. See? Young. Gemini is excellent at examining facts and theories, and Sagittarius is excellent at examining intuition and spirituality. Like the knowing. This is why you can never lie to Sagittarius, is because they just know stuff. Information is just revealed to them. They just find out. They don't even have to try very hard. They just know stuff. So Gemini just knows stuff in terms of like the material world, and Sagittarius knows stuff in terms of the spiritual realm. Okay? So that is the main difference between them. So if you're having Sagittarius as a North Node, it's because you're overabundance of this Gemini energy where you can see things from multiple points of view and you can change your mind. It's like you can be a social chameleon depending on what it is you're after. You can change and switch lanes and become who and whatever is needed to get your needs met. And what you're here to learn is that there's much more value in learning about commitment, in learning about sticking to something, in learning about getting your heart involved in something. Gemini doesn't get as passionate as they get interested. There's a difference between interest and passion. And interest is something that catches your attention in the moment. And then when it becomes boring, Gemini moves on. When Sagittarius is passionate, that is just what they're lost in. Sagittarius as a fire sign will be consumed by the object of their passion. Just like all the other fire signs, they lust after the truth. And they're very interested in the meaning of life and the purpose of life. That's why many of them are deeply spiritual people. So you're here to live your life ethically. You're here to live your life with wisdom. You're here to stand up for what you believe in and to be true to what you say you believe in. In this life, you will not be allowed to get away with double talking people, saying one thing and doing another, being two-faced, changing your opinion one minute to the next, and having no accountability whatsoever for the things that you do. It's not going to bode well for you. The problem with Sagittarius is that they often are very knowledgeable people, but they're not very wise people. The difference between knowledge And wisdom is the application of knowledge. In between I know and I am wise is the utilization of that information. Knowing that driving without a seatbelt can render you dead if you were in a car accident is very different from actually putting a seatbelt on every time you get in the car so you do not die if you were to get in a car accident, so you don't fly through the window. That's what wisdom is. Sagittarius often likes to take chances that are unnecessary because they refuse to utilize the information they have at their disposal. And that's how they get messed up in life, is tiptoeing around the truth and pretending not to know the truth and pretending not to know the facts for what they are and pretending to be different people depending on who's around. Sagittarius will know the truth and will completely and expect things to go as if they had actually applied the truth. Do you see those similarities? So both of these have been gifted, these sisters, by the way, sister signs in astrology, have been gifted with intellect. When you look at the smarter zodiac signs, you will find, okay? For Gemini, it's a speedy, fast brain that absorbs information and can quickly recognize patterns and clues and cues. This is why Gemini is an excellent detective. And for Sagittarius, it's just a knowing that comes from wisdom because they're a much older soul. It's very hard to lie to these two and get away with it because they always know what the truth is. You can lie to them, you can pretend. They will entertain you in most cases, but you won't be able to get away with it because they always know when people are full of shit, when people are not being truthful, when people are lying to them. But the problem with them is not lying to themselves and not lying to other people. So while they're very good at detecting your lies, they're not very good at detecting their own behaviors when they're not being honest, when they're not being upright, when they're not being ethical, when they're not being truthful. The other thing is Sagittarius is way more open-minded than Gemini when it comes to actually being willing to immerse themselves into a new world. While Gemini is intellectually the most open-minded thinker of the zodiac, when it comes to like maneuvering themselves in the physical realm and creating opportunities that invite otherness, they're not as skilled with that. And as an astrologer, that is actually one of the telltale signs for me to recognize whether a Gemini is a sick Gemini or a healthy Gemini. And those of you that are Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising, here it is. This is a little cookie for you. A healthy Gemini that is in their healthy energy, Sun, Moon, or Rising, will have friends from all over the world. And their friends will be weird as hell. They will have such a vast array of bizarre personalities around them. But the thing is, when they come together and they start conversing with their friends, you get why they're friends. That even though at face value they look different, maybe there's different skin color, different religion, different language, they're all are a little like odd. They're on a different vibration and the binds them together. So when I meet a Gemini Sun, Moon, or Rising who does not have a lot of friends, who does not have a large social group, and who does not have a lot of friends that are artists that are others, queer, grunge culture, underground culture, just anything that is like odd and cutting edge, gamers, just any type of like subculture, I know they're a sick Gemini because a healthy Gemini is exactly that. They are immersing themselves in everything because a healthy Gemini takes a little bit of Sagittarius energy where they willingly go out there and explore the world in all its different facets. Sagittarius, as the explorer of the zodiac, doesn't want to be told what the truth is. They want to go discover it via experiences. They want and seek unusual experiences so they can learn. A Gemini that is healthy has a bit of that in the people they surround themselves with. And they do that so that they can know that truth is really from God and truth is really universal. So when something is the truth, it rings true for everybody, whether you're Black, you're white, you're Dominican, you're Hispanic, you're Latin, you're Italian, because that's just the truth. The truth is universal, just like God. He never dies. So that is what it's about. It's about acquiring wisdom through practicing discipline, self-control, having ethics, having morals, having values, having something that you stand for, that you believe in, and that you're willing to live by. That's what it's about. So that would be your North Node. Now, with regards to it being in your fourth house, you're probably going to marry someone from another culture if you're not already married, or another racial group, or another, like, there's going to be something different. They're going to be other to you. If you're not married already, somebody that is other to you is ideal. You're not supposed to marry someone that's from your racial group. Another thing is you may come from a family background where people come from different cultures, or maybe people have different religions. So that's the other thing with Sagittarius North Node, is that they're supposed to find the meaning of religion for themselves. These are people that oftentimes grew up around a lot of faiths, a lot of belief systems, and they're supposed to come up with their own truth. And that's sometimes where Sagittarius gets stuck, is that Sagittarius is a fire sign. When they get introduced to something new, and this is something I can relate to in my own personal many religions, and I've been a part of so many different religious practices all over the world. I've been in temples, I've been in churches, I've been in, natural approaches to relating to God. You name it, I've read it, I've studied it. Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, atheists, you name it, I've studied it, I've read it, I've thought about it, I've examined it. And I am always willing to go on the ride. I am always willing to accept a new idea, study it, get immersed in it, get passionate about it. But the minute that I find that it doesn't fit me, because I have evolved past the limitations of that understanding, I don't mind chucking it and moving on to the next level. And that is the issue with Sagittarius, is that sometimes they commit too quickly to something. And if they do, that's fine. But when things change, they need to be honest with themselves and go, this no longer fits me for this reason. Therefore, I am moving on to something else. It's about finding your own truth, finding your authenticity, finding your voice, finding your own way of connecting to God, to divinity, and then holding yourself accountable for the decisions that you make within that ethical belief system that you created for yourself. You may come from a background with people that are of different cultures, so that you can learn that it's okay to have your own viewpoint. It's okay to believe what you want to believe. Everybody's free to believe what they want to believe, because your life is your life. Nobody can live your life for you. And all these people, none of them are God. None of them know. And take it from somebody that has studied many religions, and I have actually read the Bible from cover to cover, which most Christians cannot say. I have actually done that multiple times. I've read several religious books, cover to cover, multiple times. Take it from somebody that has devoted their life to understanding myself through faith. Nobody has it figured out. Nobody has the only right answer. There's so many right answers. The key is to live according to what you believe. Because when you do that, then you're energetically balanced. Then you don't betray yourself. The problem is when you betray yourself. When you pretend to believe something you don't believe, and you say you believe something and you do the opposite. God does not like liars and people that are dishonest. God only likes the truth. So it's about you exploring and being willing to live things and situations out loud and learning from them, and being willing to divorce those belief systems when they no longer serve you. That's what I would recommend for you. Oh, I'm glad you're single and everyone you've dated has always been from a different culture. You're on the right track. Keep doing more of it. And do not settle for something that keeps you small, because you're here to be huge. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system. So the family that you create is going to be huge, by the way. And maybe it's going to be somebody that comes from a large family. I don't know if you come from a large family. But yeah, that's where you're going to truly blossom, because at the root of it, all of us come from God, and God is love. So somebody from another culture is not going to be much different from you if they love you and you love them, because what brings us together is love. The love that I have for you and then you have to for me, that's what makes us human. That's really what makes us human. Us treating each other with love. And when you're Sagittarius North Node, you're here to learn that belief and facts are not the same thing. So if you believe in love and you believe to have found it with somebody, then even when things come up that change your opinion of them, your perception of them, if you believe that you love them and you believe that they are the personification of God's love in a human being on earth, then you commit yourself to your love. You commit yourself to them and the love that you share with them. And that's what you focus on. And with it being in a fourth house, you're supposed to be somebody that really works on your marriage, that really works on building your home and your foundation in your home, because a lot of your stability is going to come from your home. Sagittarius is greatly rewarded for being committed, because the next step after Sagittarius is Capricorn, who's all about commitment. So if you can learn how to be committed while you're Sagittarius, it's only going to set you up for better success when you become a Capricorn, which inadvertently everybody goes from Aries all the way to Pisces. Jay wants to know what kind of partner would be adequate based on their Venus placement in Gemini. Jay, can you tell me about your moon sign? What's your moon sign giving, Jay? What's your moon sign giving, Jay? Bum, 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 bum. Just want a little bit more data about your emotional responsiveness. Hi, good evening, Jennifer. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. Jay is a Cancer Sun, Virgo Moon, and Libra Rising. Okay, so you have celebrity energy at that Libra Rising. Hi, good evening, Cat Love. That's beautiful. To be honest with you, Jay, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Like, I was trying to think of a nice way to say this, Jay, but I'm just going to come out and tell you what it is. You are not good for long-term relationships. You're not good for long-term partners. Gemini Venus is deeply loyal when they find their person, but their person is a very special type. You know, their person is someone that has a mix of a lot of good things going for them. Their person is one in a million. They're looking for somebody that is adventurous, somebody that is highly intelligent, somebody who's inquisitive, somebody who is outgoing, somebody who is a critical thinker, somebody who is not as emotionally reactive. But for you having Cancer Sun and then having this Gemini Venus, which, you know, it's like polar opposites in terms of disposition. So I'm sure this some people would, you know, accuse you of being bipolar because you also have this Libra rising. The Virgo moon is at all not that friendly. Okay, you have a very difficult mix that is going to be hard to find in one person. Okay, and this is often why Gemini Venus people have a hard time finding love. Like they find love first. If you are a Gemini Venus, the likelihood that you're going to find one person that you're going to travel through all the seasons of life with are slim. Is that impossible? No. But when that day comes, it's going to be certainly, and when you find them, you're not going to want to let them go because there will be one in a million. But with you having Cancer at the Sun, you know, you're going to be looking for somebody that's earthy at the Sun or somebody that's watery at the Sun. Because you have a Virgo moon, I would recommend somebody that's earthy at the Sun. I would not recommend Virgo. I would recommend the others, the non-mutable ones. I would recommend Capricorn or Taurus. Taurus is actually an ideal match for Cancer, so I would recommend Taurus at the Sun, ideally. But the others are suitable too. You know, Capricorn is suitable, Virgo is suitable, Scorpio is suitable, Pisces is suitable. But Capricorn is like 50-50 in terms of success rate between Cancer and Capricorn. It's either when they hit it off great, or they just irritate the crap out of each other, like nothing in between, right? Someone said you could attract a lot of sneaky links. An astrologer said that, yes. So let me tell you the dream world of a Gemini Venus, since you're ready to swallow the truth in whole. You're great for love stories that live for the ages. Okay? You're great for like, let's have a fling. That's what you're for. Your love is in burst, kind of like Gemini. Okay, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is the fastest planet in the entire, you know, in on our solar system, right? So being the fastest planet, Gemini loses interest very quickly in people. Okay, so you can find somebody interesting, but if they're not able to sustain your interest long term, that energy is going to diminish over time, and that interest is eventually going to be gone. So the goal with this is essentially to find somebody that you find interesting for that season and then moving on to the next person once that interest goes away. And you also have your Mars in Gemini. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you are not meant for long term relationships. But here's the interesting thing though, your Cancer is very emotionally needy. Okay. And that's probably what's tripping you up because when you're in your ego, you have this feeling of I deserve because Cancer energy. Hola. Hola, Morena. Thanks for stopping by. Cancer has this very like queenish energy, this very entitled energy, which, you know, I'm not using that word in a negative way. It's good to be entitled. It's good to know what you deserve, and it's good to not settle for less than what you deserve. So Cancer does want love, and Cancer does crave companionship. Unlike the other zodiac sign, Cancer is actually looking to lose themselves in another. Cancer actually believes in this idea of like emotional vulnerability and love and tenderness and a home and warmth, all of those things. So your ego wants that. Your ego feels like you deserve that because all of your other placements are highly intelligent and you feel like you have a good sense of what people are looking for, like whatever that equation might be. But the problem is that you yourself are a bit too fast paced and to evolve for most people. So most people are not going to be able to keep up with you. And if they do, eventually they will wear out. And then at that point, you have to decide whether you're going to do the Virgo thing of being like committed to them and focusing on the practical aspect of life, like, oh, I have somebody with me, you know, we pay the bills together, we go on vacation together, we hang out with the families together, we have a schedule together. Or if you're going to do the Gemini thing, which is like, I am on the quest for something exciting, something new, something meaningful, something jarring. And you have to decide what's more important to you. But with that Gemini Mars, Gemini Venus, Moon, there's just way too much mercurial energy here for there to be consistency, for there to be stability, and for there to be. Oh no, Kate, I was talking to the other guy who asked me the question. He was the first one to pop up on here. So I'm waiting for him to respond. Your Saturn is in Taurus in the seventh house. See, God is calling you to do the opposite of what you want to do. Okay? God is calling you to be somebody that actually stops being so hypercritical of people and of yourself and of people's inadequacies, and to actually like settle with somebody, to actually settle down and to actually have a home, which is what your ego wants. But your intellect is so overly involved that it doesn't take much for you to dissect people and pull them apart to pieces and then be utterly discouraged and turned off that they don't live up to your expectations. Because quite frankly, with this kind of a mix, it's going to be hard for you to find somebody that lives up to your expectations in terms of a long-term meaningful kind of way. So there's going to be some element of compromise that is involved here with regards to accepting people for who they are. Virgo moon often really struggles with that themselves because most of them grew up in a home where they were judged harshly for being who they are. Virgo moon often has a history of growing up in a home where they feel emotionally more close to one parent than the other. It's either the other parent. There's a theme of caretaking in Virgo moon's childhood. It's either one parent is sick and they're not fully present for Virgo moon, so the other parent then is the one that's constantly present. So then Virgo moon gets in this idea in their head that their love has to be like unrequited, like they can't fathom a world where they love somebody who loves them back the same way. So Virgo moon then becomes obsessed with a love that they can never get back. Okay. So Virgo moon is only attracted to people they can't have, to make a long story short. Virgo moon loves people that are married, loves people that are in relationship, loves people that are having affairs on their partners behind their back. In fact, Virgo at the sun is the number one zodiac sign to sleep with married people. Virgo moon loves the idea of having a fantasy about somebody who doesn't even know they exist, or somebody who doesn't even take them seriously on that level. That's who Virgo wants, a person they can't have, because Virgo moon does not like struggles to love themselves. So the people that they put on the pedestal, by the way, which is what Virgo is obsessed with, this idea of judging and measuring. So certain people are like up there for Virgo and some people are down there, and then there's some people that are here in the middle. So for Virgo moon, the only thing they want are people that are up there on the pedestal, that they themselves are put on the pedestal. And what often happens, especially with you with this kind of a mix, is that Cancer has a fantasy. So Cancer goes in with the ego, with their dreamy eyes about how this person is so perfect. And then you get in there, and then eventually, that wears off. And then Virgo moon finds himself having to dissect what this person is about. And then they realize they're not as great as they thought they were. And that's usually when Gemini gets involved and they're like, I could find better. And then they move on to the next person. The work that you're here to do really is about healing yourself so you can actually reach for a love that is attainable, and that you can stop seeing love as this like dreamy thing that is flawless, because it doesn't exist, and to seek to establish stability. And that means, instead of entertaining sneaky links, entertaining people who actually bring value to your world. Because that's the thing about Taurus. Taurus doesn't just date anybody. Taurus doesn't date you because you're exciting. Taurus dates you because you add value. There's something of value that they get to gain from being associated with you. It doesn't mean they're not capable of romantic love, but it has to make sense. So if you find yourself attracted to people in a way that doesn't make sense, then that should be your cue to you that this is me acting out of my trauma, my Virgo moon trauma, where I believe the only love that I can get is the love that I can't get. The only love I want is the love that I can't get. That is the Virgo moon trauma, and they have to unlearn that. You have to relearn that you're worthy of love and that you deserve love. So find yourself an earth sign woman that preferably has a water moon, because that's going to help you with that Cancer sun. I don't care as much about the rising because I think you can learn how to get along with different personality traits. But I think the main things for you is to find a healing companion for that moon sign. And please don't go for Pisces moon. That would be the worst thing to do. All the other moon signs that are water or earth are fine. Just don't do Pisces. Because Pisces was a child therapist. So you don't need to be trauma bonding about being little people that were worried about the adults that couldn't take care of you. That's not love. That's just a trauma bond. And eventually, because you're a Gemini Mars, you're going to figure out that's a trauma bond and you're going to move on from there, and they may still be stuck there. So that was my answer. And I'm so glad that you love Taurus women, because I think that will be perfect for you. You will create a beautiful home where you can laugh, you can have all the adventures that you want, you can still have all the wild and crazy stuff that you want, but at least you have a home that you get to come back to, which ultimately is what your ego really wants and needs. So Kate Fassett, I see you've been writing a lot. Oh, it sounds like I was speaking to your moon sign there, the Virgo moon. You said your mother worked a lot. So let me see what your original question was. Oh, you're a Cancer sun and Gemini. Okay. Kate Fassett. Kate Fassett. Oh my God, Kate Fassett, you're exactly the same placement as Jay on TikTok. That's fantastic. Well, Jay, you and Kate should talk, because it sounds like you have a lot of similarities. Because what are the odds? Isn't that crazy that she has exactly the same placements as you? She was getting ready to ask me a question and she goes, oh, those are my same placements. Are all of you guys having the same placements? Oh, Kate is not available. I'm sorry, Jay. She's married. Womp womp. Well, I'm glad that you found your person, your somebody. So, Kate, what's your spouse's placements? I want to give Jay some hope, okay? Hopefully, this is a good mix. And hopefully, you are not asking me marital questions because your marriage isn't going well. That would not bode well for her. That's not a good omen for Jay. Jay doesn't want that. Jay wants hope. He wants a good situation for his life. He wants happiness and joy and fulfillment. So, Kate, what's your partner's placements? Big three. Do you know? So Jay said there's someone for everybody. Of course, there's over 8 billion people on Earth. And with you having a Gemini Mars, by the way, you're supposed to marry somebody that is a foreigner, that is different from your culture. Somebody from another culture is going to bring you more luck. In fact, all of your placements lend to you marrying somebody outside of your culture, by the way. All of your placements that you've shared with me, these are the number one zodiac signs that marry outside of their culture. So if you've been dating women from your cultural background, this may be a hint to you that it may be time to look outside of whatever culture you're part of, or outside of America. There's over 8 billion people on Earth. If you cannot find somebody from your ethnic group, hi, Kia. Hello, good evening. Then, yeah, you should look outside. You have all the right placements to find somebody that is compatible. And that also brings like excitement and zest to your life. Okay, so Kate says their partner is Cancer, Aquarius, and Leo rising. And oh, look at this, Jay. Kate's partner is Dominican. And Kate, what's your cultural background? So Jay said, yes, ever since I was young, I always had interest in other races of women and I'm trying to learn. That's beautiful. That's the way to go for you. Okay, and Kate is black and their husband is Dominican. So there you go. This is what I was trying to tell you. There it is. That's astrology right here. Those of you that don't believe in astrology, the proof is in the pudding right here. What are the odds that these two people, one on Instagram, one on TikTok, have similar placements? And I'm sharing that, the one who asked the question should look outside of their culture and their race. And this other person on Instagram goes, yeah, actually, my person is from another ethnic group. And it sounds like your person is a good match. Cancer, Cancer, so compatible. Aquarius, Virgo, compatible in the sense of being analytical. And Leo rising, compatible with Libra rising. The moon is probably the most challenging part of your placement because you're both very analytical. But since you have both have Cancer at the sun, you probably bring a lot of emotionality to one another, which is really the big thing with couples. When it comes to love, it's like you don't want to have an excess of intellect and not enough emotions. It's about love, it's about relationships, it's about tenderness. Okay, so we want to bring our hearts to love. When we're talking about love, romance, we need a heart space. And Virgo and Aquarius struggle with heart space, especially at the moon placement, because Virgo is naturally a computer and so is Aquarius. So when you put those two with the moon, these are the people that over intellectualize their emotions. When there's a problem, instead of coming out and saying, you've hurt my feelings, when you did this thing, it made me feel offended, and I was embarrassed, and I was in complete disbelief that you did that, and you left me feeling humiliated. This is all feelings talk. But what a Virgo or an Aquarius is going to do is try to overly intellectualize it. They will go in the lab and take this narrative, and then they will come back with a story and narration that they've created in their heads that makes sense to them. And then they will come out and try to project that onto you. Like, oh, the reason why you said that thing to me is because of this childhood trauma that you had with your mother. And in that moment, and then they end up opening up other wounds and creating other problems. Meanwhile, their actual hypothesis is incorrect because the ideal way to resolve this and get to the truth would have been to actually engage their partner into a conversation by first expressing what they feel. I feel this. That's it. I feel this. I feel hurt. I feel humiliated. I feel embarrassed. I feel disappointed. I feel angry. I feel shocked. And then allowing their partner to take that in and then respond back to, how that makes them feel, and then engaging their partner into, so what was going on for you when you did this thing? But they're too emotionally insecure, these two at the moon placement, to actually have that kind of vulnerability to come to the table and say, my heart is bleeding because you did something. You did something and my heart is bleeding. They don't know how to do that. And that's what makes their relationships tricky. So he's his Venus in Cancer and your Venus is in Taurus. Okay, he's Venus in Gemini. So that's the one thing that's different between you two. Okay, very nice. I love Taurus Venus and Cancer and Jay. See, this is what I was telling you. Cancer, Taurus, soulmates. She's Venus in Cancer, and he's Venus in Taurus, or vice versa. No, he's Venus in Cancer and she's Venus in Taurus. Soulmates. So what you need is a Taurus sun. That would radically change your world, especially with that being at your Saturn. Here's the thing to manifestation. I'll share a quick trick, and then Kate Nefasent, I will take your question after that. The trick to manifesting the life of your dreams is to have a handle on your Saturn. Oftentimes in astrology, when we're talking about Saturn, we talk about it in a negative way, which Saturn is a negative planet in the sense that it brings hardship. Okay? There's no dancing around that. Saturn brings hardship. Saturn is difficult. Saturn is not flowers and roses and butterflies. Saturn is a planet of karma. Obviously, the planet of karma is not going to be the planet of hunky dory, everything is happy all the time. However, Saturn in astrology is the teacher. Saturn is here to teach us a lesson on this journey that we need to master in order to have success. So one key to manifesting the life of your dreams, whether Jay, you're looking for love, or Kate, we'll get to your question in a bit, whatever it is you're looking for, if you prioritize centering the energy of Saturn in your life with every decision that you make, if you ask yourself, what would this zodiac sign do in this situation? If you prioritize the energy of that Saturn in all of your decisions, you will find that life will naturally unfold for you with ease because the universe is working in your favor. You're literally here on a spiritual mission. You have something to accomplish on earth. That is why God sent you to earth. All the resources that you need to make this plan come to be, you have at your disposal. The only issue is us, our traumas, our egos, our inability to face our pain, our lack of willingness to address it. So then we get stuck into these toxic cycles, and then we go through life without any connection to a higher perspective, making the same mistakes over and over again. But if we can learn to be disciplined in the area where we were asked to be disciplined, it would make us stronger. This is why Capricorn, who's ruled by Saturn, is exalted in Mars, because nobody's as disciplined as Capricorn in all of astrology. Nobody is. Because Capricorn knows that this is the price you pay for freedom. If you want true bliss, true pleasure, true freedom in this life, if you want to manifest the life of your dreams, you have to learn what your boundaries are. And we all have boundaries. Your boundaries are your Saturn. Some Saturn's boundaries are like this. Some are like this. Some are like this. Okay? If your Saturn is one of those that is uptight, that is rigid, that is the expectation. That you do everything according to that. So back to you, Jay, with your Saturn being in Taurus, and same with you, Kate, in Taurus, you guys have to stay grounded. So if it's friendship, if it's a job, if it's a lover, if it's a health routine, if it's a fitness routine, a diet routine, anything new that you want to manifest, if it does not come with something that adds monetary value to your life, security to your life, stability to your life, it's not for you. Period. Now, does that mean you can't engage with it? Does that mean you can't have fun with the sneaky links? No. But I just needed to be clear that when you're going into these torrid love affairs, whether it's like a love triangle type situation, which is Virgo moon specialty, I need you to go into it knowing that this is something I'm doing for fun. Like, I'm not investing myself into this. I'm not opening myself to see where this goes, because this is not for me. Because what is for me is going to be way more traditional, way more conventional, way more stable than this. And that should be like your mindset. And that goes for all of you with regards to your Saturns. All right, now back to you, Kate. How does an individual live up to their midheaven? Mine is in Leo. What do you do for a living, Kate? Oh, Jay, you're so welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you for being the brave soul to ask me the first question of the evening. I appreciate you. All right, so let me see what Kate does for a living. And to answer how do you live up to your midheaven, it's ideal to get a job that is in alignment with your midheaven because you were given skills for that purpose. So you're a nurse by day and singer by night. Tell me more about the singing. Where do you sing? What is, like, do you have a singing career on the side? Are you in a band? Do you do shows? What's the story with the singing? And also, tell me what's in your 10th. People have different placements and planets in their 10th house than they do their midheaven. So, Kate, while I'm waiting for your answers, somebody's asking me if a personal trainer makes sense for a Taurus midheaven. Yes, absolutely. Taurus is very strong. Taurus is sturdy, in fact. Taurus is a powerhouse. So yes, anything physical for Taurus is great. Anything physical, anything concrete, anything tangible. Taurus makes a great real estate person. Taurus is great with fitness. Taurus is great with construction. Anything that requires touching things. Taurus is also great with beauty products if it's a woman, like being an influencer, anything like that. If you're a Taurus midheaven, anything with beauty. Taurus is a great chef. Anything with food. Basically where we have to touch things. Taurus is not great when machines are involved and they have to be like theoretical and abstract. They don't do as well. They do tactile. They do tangible. They do practical. So Kate was asking, so back to Kate. Kate was asking, what was the question? I said, can you expand a little bit more about the singing? I want to know if you're actually like pursuing a singing career, if you're in a band, or if you're putting an album together, if you're on Spotify. Basically, I want to get a gist of like what the singing entails. You said a singer by night. What does that mean? Is this a professional thing? Is this like a nefarious thing? And I mean nefarious in terms of like cabaret singing. Like you're pursuing. You have an album coming out this Friday. Congratulations! Yay! Professionally, yay! Awesome. So Leo Midheaven, you're supposed to be a star. You're supposed to shine brightly. You're supposed to be known. You're supposed to be seen. What is your degree of your Leo Midheaven? And also, I don't know if you have your chart in front of you, but do you know if you have any fame degrees in your chart? Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Okay, very good. Do you have any leadership roles at your current job? Are you a leader at work? Are you a manager? Oh, 29th degree. Okay, very good. All right. So you're supposed to be famous. You have the Leo degree at your career. So yes. So you are supposed to be famous. You're supposed to be seen. You're supposed to be heard. You're supposed to be celebrated. What is your rising? What is your moon? Virgo moon. And Kate, do you have a different 10th house placement? And so we have Scorpio rising and Virgo moon. Okay. And what kind of music do you sing, Kate? What style, genre? Oh, no worries. You're doing great. You're doing great. I'm keeping up with you so far. She was apologizing for the short answers. Alternative R&B. Yeah. So, and what's your North Node? So Lilith in Libra and Virgo North Node. Well, this is why it's good to ask all the questions, right? So, Kate, how long have you been working in nursing? 3 years. So you're still new. Okay. So this is my honest opinion. And this one is a little surprising because when you told me about that Leo Midheaven, it was obvious that you were supposed to be a star. And then when you said singing, I'm like, well, this is adding up. But then when you got to the Virgo moon, I started like being a little reticent. And the Scorpio rising, I started being a little reticent. And then we got to the North Node in Virgo. Your actual spiritual path in this world is about healing. So unless your music is healing, I don't believe you're here to be a star that just like is like the life of the party. So your music has to be healing, okay? In order for you to stay in harmony with your life's purpose. You're here to be a star that brings healing to people. Do you know what I mean? Because your North Node is in Virgo. So what you're here to do is actually bring people healing. Some artists make music that heal people's souls, and some artists make people dance and make people feel good. So when I think of music that is healing, it's music that is transformative. I think about like Michael Jackson. You know, his music heals people, even though he was also like a big commercial star. Do you know what I mean? So my advice to you, if you want to stay within your life's purpose, this mission, because here's the thing, when we do not live up to our assignment on our spiritual mission on earth, which by the way, our North Node is our spiritual mission on earth, it's the reason why you were made. Your North Node is the reason why you exist, the reason why you were made, okay? So if you want to live according to your purpose in life, it's good to keep in mind what your North Node is because it tells you how to kind of channel your gifts in a way that aligns, right? So Gemini is your South Node. So that means in previous lives, there's been like an overabundance of communication. So in this life, it's less about sharing of information and more of dissecting of information and healing yourself so you can help others heal. So the best way to use your midheaven in this life would be to, if you want to fully pursue the music, to bring your pain into your music, because that would open doorways for you. Because with that Virgo rising, you naturally expose people's darkness to them. And with you having that Scorpio moon, you're going to be very adept at feeling other people's pain because Virgo is a sister sign of Pisces and they're both very, very, very sensitive. So you're a natural healer. So it's a matter of making sure that you infuse that into your music if you want to manifest a successful music career. You said music is your healer and your music has been considered healing. That's beautiful. So you're living according to your purpose because all of your placements are healing placements. That's why this is so important. Virgo moon is a healing placement, Scorpio rising is a healing placement, and Virgo North Node is a healing placement. So with having the midheaven in Leo, it would be resisting the urge to make this about like like a self-centered need to just be seen, which is like what plagues Leo. Leo's obsessed with the self in a very like superficial level, on a very superficial level, because Leo is a younger version of Aquarius. Aquarius is obsessed with the world's problem, and Leo's obsessed with themselves. So for you, your secret weapon is actually to bring in the pain from love into your music with that Libra Lilith. If you can infuse like romance stories about love and painful love stories that you've overcome, oh my God, you would like blow people's minds and hearts. You would take them so far they would never forget you, because you deserve it. This is what you were made for. Very few people have their midheaven at the 29th degree, so that is definitely something to appreciate and feel grateful about. And you're right. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you're not a star, because with Leo midheaven, wherever you work, you are going to be the star. So it was either going to be you're going to be the star in that nursing job because you're still very new, there's still an opportunity to rise up the ranks, or you're going to be a star with the music or with something else. Either way, it's going to require both creativity and healing. Both of them together are going to make you very, very happy and very successful. Because that's the thing, Virgo moon is very critical, and Virgo moon requires a lot of essence because of this kind of tension they had in childhood. So if you can make your art like have heart, it's going to not just feed them, but it's also going to feed you, because when we do it well, we do it for ourselves. And, we relinquish the right to control like how people vibe to it because we did it right the first time when we made it. And that's the beauty of the artistry. Like when you're a true artist, it's not about how it's received. It's like it heals you as you're making it. So it has no other choice but to heal other people because you felt it and it was real to you when you made it. So that's exciting. You have Pisces South Node. Kate has Pisces South Node. Yeah. It's good you're in nursing, by the way, Kate, because Pisces South Node cannot succeed in nursing because, nursing, you need to be disciplined. You need to be exact with the things you're doing and precise. It can't all be a fantasy or an illusion. So, yeah, I'm not worried about you going in la la land with music and not worrying about paying your bills. So that was a beautiful question. Thank you so much for that wonderful question. Thanks to everybody who hung out with me this evening. Thank you for coming. Thanks for all the gifts. Thanks for all the likes. I really appreciate the support. Thanks for watching my video. If you want to schedule a private reading with me, link in bio to do so. You can join my private Patreon group. I can coach you on how to manifest your dreams around the lunar cycle. I'll get to learn your chart and give you advice and tips specific to you. Thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful evening. Love you guys, and I'll catch you soon. Au revoir. Bisous. Merci.
You can book your astrology reading at intuitivehealing.com. You can also watch videos at Intuitive Healing here on YouTube for Astrology 101 content. Listen to the Aquarius podcast on Spotify, as well as here on YouTube for your horoscope. If you're interested in astrology and love connections, you can visit at Styled Under Libra. And of course, for health and wellness and holistic healing, visit at Styled Under Virgo for all of your astrology content. Thanks so much for watching.